guys, welcome back to another episode of Project Life. For this episode, I'm going to be working with the Take 10 kit. This is their November kit. That's just a picture I took at Trader Joe's of all the beautiful little pumpkins, but that thankful card is from this month's kit, as well as that black card with the saying on it and the wood grain. And I really just love all these little cards. They're really perfect for doing 30 days of thankful or just regular old spread for Thanksgiving or this time of November. But I'm kind of doing like my own version of 30 days of thankful basically. So you guys will see what I mean. It's not like in the traditional sense, but I'm doing it in my own way. I'm using these stickers that are craft with gold dots, and they're super cute, and I had the idea of putting a piece of vellum over this because I didn't want to take away from that photo because I just love it. I feel like it definitely signifies November to me. So I started off by adding some lines to this card so that I had an idea of where I should start off with with whatever script I decided to put in there, and I decided to use my typewriter to do it. So even more so, I would need the line to kind of guide me so that I kind of know where to stop and still leave room for my thickers. And believe it or not, this time I was using my typewriter, it was a little bit harder adjusting everything and getting it right. So finally, I did get it right. And I wrote notes on my notes section on my iPhone 6 so that I knew exactly what I wanted to write on that card ahead of time, because it's a little harder when you just want to journal and it's just off the top of your head. Sometimes you have an idea, and so it's better just to write it down and be prepared for it. Especially for me, when I film these videos, I would rather just be prepared for it in general, but I would have made those notes either way if I was just doing Project Life and not filming it at all. So I thought that ended up going perfect on there, and you could still see the letters but still see the picture. So I absolutely love the way that looks, and I decided to actually sew it because now I'm kind of obsessed with adding sewing detail to everything now that I figured out how to thread my machine and everything. And I really like the way it looked. I just sewed basically the vellum on top and bottom versus gluing it down. So that card was very simple but really cute, and I like the way that it looked. And then next I'm working on my thankful card, which I wanted to kind of stand out without me doing too much to it because I love the card on its own. And since that's going to be the theme of my next couple November pages, thankfulness, I wanted this card kind of to stand on its own. So I pulled out that label from one of those Studio Calico label books, and then I had these Lawn Fawn, I think Cole's Alphabet, I believe, stamps, and I decided to stamp the days, even though I ended up changing my mind as far as like I didn't want all the letters to be stamped, so I ended up adding a sticker. One is from an Echo Park Alpha set I had, and the other one is from KI Memories, and I just added that onto there because I thought it would just give it like a little bit more of a whimsical look, just not to have everything matchy-matchy. Next, I knew I needed something in that area, so I had one of those little vellums that I had created. If you guys saw my gold foiling video, if you haven't, I'll try to remember to link it in the description box below. But I wanted to use that little circle with the gold foiling to just add a bit of gold and to add some interest to that one little area because I wanted to put 30 days basically right in that little circle, and I felt like it would just be a little too boring if it just was a plain old 30. So I went ahead and stamped that out ahead of time and then punched it out with my little recollections punch. And then I basically just sat it right in there, and I actually stamped that out ahead of time with a sepia brown archival ink, which to me brown is like the perfect accent color right now for November and everything like that. And I'm actually filming this video for the first time on my new computer, so I'm hoping everything goes well since the sound quality is a little bit wonky to me, surprisingly. I added that little walnut on top of not walnut, I keep calling it a walnut, but it's a chestnut, on top of the actual chestnut on that photo because I wanted it to stand out more. Because I love all the little elements of fall, like chestnuts and foxes and all the things that are like significant of fall and pumpkins. So I wanted that part to just stand out a little bit more because you know me, I can't leave things alone, and I always have to pull out my watercolors, even if it's just for something small. So I just added some water there, and I made sure not to pick up too much water. I had a little tissue paper that I would dab off of because I don't want to make a mess or somehow end up ruining this card. So I just wanted to add a little bit of green to that little leaf there just to make it stand out that much more, because after I added that little walnut sticker, I felt like it needed something more just to make it pop a little bit. So I added that, and that dried fairly quickly, and I really love the way that it looks. So it just shows that you don't necessarily always need a ton of products to kind of like make things cuter. Because I know a lot of people tell me that they're getting all these products to do Project Life and things like that, but you don't necessarily need a bunch of products. Yeah, it does help sometimes, but sometimes it also just overwhelms you. So just be sure to, you can always make your own embellishments as well. Sometimes I end up doing that more than using stuff I have. I had these stickers left over from the Highline collection, so I added that to the side of this photo, which we went to see the movie Fury, so I wanted to document that as one of the things that I'm thankful for November. And I added washi on the inside of that so that it would be able to like stay flapped open. So, if anyone pulled that card out, they could just basically read the little story behind it. So, and then I put that as my number one thankful thing. So I just added the number to that. For my 30 days of thankful, I'm planning on doing is some of the pictures and things I will add a number to. And then other ones I won't, because like I'll either scribble it on my journaling and not necessarily make it like a focal element. But for right now, that's kind of what I'm enjoying doing. So I did that, told my little story behind there. Then I felt I needed one more thing, so I had these little buttons from the October Freckles Fawn kit, which I didn't get that whole kit, but I happened to have some of the buttons from a swap or something, or that I did, so I added that to there, and it looks super duper cute. And I knew that I needed to have that on there. I decided to keep that other black card that came in the kit just simple and put it in there. So I don't know if later on I'll add something to that, but for now I'm just leaving it as is because it's really cute as it is. And then I had this frame that's from the Crate Paper collection, and it actually fits kind of perfect on the Polaroid style Instax pictures, in case you guys are wondering. And that's from my printer that I printed that out from, if you guys saw that video as well. And then I decided to add a number to this, and I used my LE Studio stamp set, and I just stamped that out ahead of time in some brown sepia ink. And I just liked the way that it looked, and since I wasn't going to add a bunch of journaling to this card, I thought it would just be fun to add that too because of that. Had I done some journaling, I might not have added a number, but I like the way it looks and kind of just gives it an extra element. And then this next card, I was just adding another photo that I had in mind. And I really loved the way that this was all coming together, especially with like the green and the little touches that I'll be adding. And I had to add this box that I had because literally, I forget what the stamp set is called, but I had been coveting it forever, so I really wanted to use it somehow in my November layouts because I think it's perfect. And I had this piece of acetate that I printed on from Staples, some designs onto it, and I thought it'd be perfect for that corner because it's kind of like an orangey reddish and it has little stars, which is hard to see on camera, but you can see that in person. And so I already knew I wanted to use that little fox, and then I found this delightful, it says Delightful Day, I believe, and I knew I wanted to use that as well because I really liked the colors and I felt like it added an extra element. And I knew I was going to journal right by the little fox, so I kind of wanted to create sort of like a little cluster of sorts right in that one area, right where the journaling is going to be under. So that's kind of why I decided it needed that there. And I will be adding another little embellishment. And I was just basically taping down my fox. Sometimes I use glue, sometimes I use my tape runner. It really just depends on what I'm trying to do, and sometimes you get a little bit messier with glue, so I try to be really careful that I'm using small amounts so that it doesn't just go everywhere. And now I'm using my American Crafts Precision pen just to do some journaling, and I believe that's like the .01. I kind of go in between using this one and my fine point Sharpie as well, but I just had that one on hand at the moment, so that's what I grabbed. And I hope you guys are enjoying the voiceover parts of this whole Project Life stuff, because I know I see a lot of people just do music and stuff, and I've contemplated doing that, but at the same time I do like explaining my process, because sometimes when I do watch other videos like that, there's certain things that I'll see that I'll wish the person could kind of explain the thought process behind it, so I try to do that myself as much as I can without babbling too much. But yeah, I just added the journaling and I really liked the way that it looked like that, and I knew it needed one more element right after I added the journaling, and I decided to put one of these little cork stars. And that's the great thing about Project Life, you guys. You can always go back and add something. If you see your layout and later on you realize something's missing or it needs a bit something, you can always go back and do that. So don't ever stress out about it too much. I try not to, especially when I'm making the videos, because sometimes I'll think, oh, what if this layout doesn't just look quite as balanced as it should? And honestly, I don't even worry about that anymore. I just think, if it needs something else or it feels wrong to me in some way, I can always go back and somewhat adjust it or change it. But I just try to follow my gut and go with whatever I think looks nice, literally. I'm just like, okay, I think this looks nice like this, I'm going to do it. Okay, if this doesn't, worst case scenario, if you really don't like how it looks, you can always redo it. So for this, I wanted to create kind of like a little, like, fluid little collage type thing going on. I had that white tag that I actually die cut from a Studio Calico die I had, and I wanted to add a little bit of like blue to it because it looked too stark white. So I thought it would be nice to just add like literally it's just slight touches of blue. And I thought it would go good too because it would just add that color that I have going throughout the rest of my layout. I have little touches of blue in areas anyway, so I might as well. Then I had that piece of acetate from an ephemera pack that was from the Highline collection as well, and that's just a vellum piece that I punched a square out of. I believe it was a 3-inch square, and I just kind of like the way that it looks laid over the picture like that. I've never really done anything like that before, but I really loved the look of it. It was kind of by accident that I did this and was just like, oh wow, that looks really cool. So I kind of like the little ghosty effect that it gives it, and you can still totally see the picture, but I just like the look that it gives it. I was even contemplating kind of sewing around it, but I figured that might be a bit much, so I decided to kind of just keep it a little bit simple. And then I just stapled down the tag because I liked the way where it was at, and I actually added that green reinforcer to that tag that I had, which is what I usually use in my planner pages. But I thought it would go perfect for this because it would give it like a little touch of green and kind of balance it out. And then I had this extra piece that I had die cut out of cork from, what do you call it? Well, the die that I had from Pick Fresh Studios. I always get tongue twisted when I do these videos, so I decided to use that to add some journaling. And then I had this Gossamer Blue left over from a long time ago when I used to subscribe to their kits that I had basically printed out on acetate. So I decided to add that onto there. Um, and for the record, I still love Gossamer Blue kits. I just, not everyone can afford to be subscribed to like every kit or whatever. So, but I decided to just staple that down on there. At first I was going to staple both sides and realized that wasn't quite possible, but I actually really liked the way it looked with the one staple just hanging off like that, because I could have just put a little tape on the other end, but I just liked the way it looked. And then I was kind of meddling around deciding where I wanted each one of those, like which piece I wanted to use. I ultimately decided on the other piece because, like I said, you just got to trust your gut and go with it. So I was like, okay, I think this piece looks best. And then I basically just put some tape runner on it. And of course, my tape runner ran out while I was filming this video, right? That's usually how it happens. So I brought out my big Mama Jamma pink ATG runner, which I use it on a regular basis when I'm not filming videos, but sometimes because it is so large, it's just easier to use a smaller tape runner for when filming an actual video. But, you gotta make it work, as Tim Gunn would say. And then I was playing around with the idea of adding this little leaf branch thing that I had stamped out in like a light colored pigment ink green, but it didn't quite look right to me. And then I used my Inkjoy pen to just write basically just put some journaling onto this photo. And I decided to do it in orange because, I get bored of just journaling in black all the time. And I also thought it would just add another pop of color. Because since I already have a bunch of orange going throughout this page, why not just add a little bit more? So I just did that, and I really like the way that it looked, honestly. Sometimes you make the best choices or ideas in Project Life just by trying something new and not being afraid to mess up. So then I had these Evilicious gold stickers, and they're like the puffy kind, and they're really cute, and I wanted to use one of them, so I cut it out ahead of time so I could see how it looked without sticking it down, and thought it was perfect there. It gave me my little touch of gold, and also just brought the page together to me, just kind of balanced it out. So yeah. And then the next card was this really pretty, like, I would say it's a plaid type pattern, but I don't know if I'm correct on that. I just really like the pattern, and I thought it was perfect for fall because it's got the green and the oranges and even the light blue, so it was kind of perfect to use for this. And I had a 3x4 acetate. I have no idea where I got that. I think I got that from a lot that I bought. I think it was from Carly B, I'm not sure, but I lose track of where I get things from, but I really like the way it looked on there, so I basically just cut it down to fit. So that's kind of like a trick. Like if you have 3x4s and you want to fit it onto someplace, just cut it down and make it work for the area that you need it to. It doesn't have to necessarily be used for a 3x4. So I'm constantly just manipulating things to work for me as I like them to. And I just decided to staple that down. Again, I could have probably sewed that, but I just thought it would look cute with the 2 little gold staples that I added. And then this is another card from this month's Take 10 kit. And I decided to cut down this beautiful little card. I almost cried while doing so. I have like cutting anxiety, like when it comes to cutting down my Project Life cards, but I really wanted to use that little area, that little note area, but I didn't want that, basically that gray type wood grain on it because I already had wood grain and I felt like it would clash if I just layered it on top of this card. So I decided to just simply cut it out so I could still use a part of it, and I really actually love the way it looked. I decided to add my journaling into there, and a lot of stuff that I do sometimes for Project Life, I pre-stamp and pre-prep things so that I have things to choose from, which makes it easier for me. I had these two that I stamped ahead of time from a Studio Calico stamp set that I had, and I just decided I would use those to kind of like bring more attention to the take note area and kind of like give some more interest to the card. And I thought I'd use my 3M foam tape just to prop those up, give the card a little bit more dimension. I know some people have issues with adding certain dimension to their cards on Project Life, but honestly the 3M foam tape is like the perfect size for adding things to Project Life. And then I just added a gold Evilicious sticker heart there because I just thought it looked absolutely perfect right in that one area. So basically I called it a day on that, and I really love the way the spread came out. I hope you guys love the way that the spread came out and you got any ideas from this and enjoyed these. And as always, you guys, be sure to subscribe, comment, and like my video, and leave me some love if you guys like what I do. And now I'm off to drink my strawberry lemonade. Bye y'all, thanks for watching!